I can pick out Montrachet, but that's about the only one I can say. Oh yeah, I know you did this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it has alcohol in it after I get tipsy after the third drink. About as good as that.
So when you're doing your sessions, Steve, do you you're doing what 2 to 3 weeks turnaround, right? Are you now doing the toss and toss it in at the beginning and wait, or are you doing staggered now, or what's?
Well, I just made
I know I asked you sort of
started
earlier.
2 sessions this last weekend, and I threw everything in at the beginning,
Okay.
and I used 71B, and it's going like gangbusters.
Okay.
And do you filter them at all afterwards, or are you just cold?
I just use super clear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll rack them to secondary, and I may let them. It depends how busy I am, and if I'm trying to rush this. Or generally, I'll rack things to secondary. I'll let it clear, and then I'll go to tertiary and super clear it from there, and then decide. May sweeten it or treat it with whatever it might need before super clearing it. But
I love that.
For example, I've never had any. Well, it generally works like 1 or 2 times. I've run across issues where it hasn't dropped in a few days.
Banana.
But that's very rare.
Banana. We got somebody saying that with the banana.
Banana.
Okay, Chris.
Been waiting almost 10 years and it hasn't cleared yet.
Yeah, I don't know, that one I had last week from Crafted had banana in it, and it was clear as a bell. I'll have to ask him what they use. All right, so Chris Hodge is asking, Steve, what are your recommendations for Belgian strains that work well for sessions? Anything you recommend over 1388?
I like Saison yeasts a lot. One of my big, aside from Mead, one of my big loves is Saisons. And so I've actually been experimenting with making session meads with Saison yeast. And it's worked out pretty well. I made one for HomebrewCon this last June when it was here in the Twin Cities. About a session, basically a session tart cherry, all the fruit in the primary. I'd have to look up which Saison yeast I used. I don't have it in memory right now. And then so it was like 1050, 1060 OG. It fermented pretty much to dry. So I backsweetened more honey, fined it, racked it to the keg, and force carbonated it, and worked out really well.
Nice.
And I'm going to do some more experimentation with that. The nice thing about Saison yeast is you get a lot of great flavors from fermenting hot. So like 80 to 85. You get some like peppery notes. And so I really I haven't played with it on the hot side yet. I've done a lot of just like basement fermentation with the Saison yeast, but I think that's, so far it's worked out really well.
Yeah, that might be interesting to try. Just to see if it'll do it. Yeah, sorry. Thought I was muted.
But other than that, I haven't really experimented with Belgian yeasts. Was it 1762 maybe? I think it was 1762, which I can't remember which strain that is. I'd have to look it up.
Did you like that? 17, whatever that.
Yeah, there's a CPIAT's local guy makes a braggot, nice braggot recipe, which I think uses that yeast. Which
that's an Abbey strain.
Picture the. Yeah, exactly. But I can't remember which Abbey brewery it is.
Oh, hang on, let me find out.
Chris was also asking, as a separate question, if you continue to keep your meads under temperature control once they're fermented out.
I just rely on my basement here in Minnesota.
You don't have to think about it, right?
I don't really. I'm sorry. It generally doesn't get above 72 down there.
Say the upside of Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was telling him that I have to, because I mean it'll immediate if I don't do that, like where I am, it'll immediately go up to 78, 80, and then I have sherry, which could be fine, but and then there's the medicine Faye also calls it. He's a little bit farther north from me, but still in South Florida. He calls where he keeps his meads the Fusel Shack.
Oh.
Yeah, I finally decided that I'm going to move down to the basement because it stays at about 68 down there year round, and even here in North Carolina. So that's it'd be a good place to make mead because I don't have to worry about these ridiculous temperature spikes that we get because I'll have the air off in the springtime, and it's like 50 outside and it's all good, and then it's like 92 2 hours later.
Right. The thing is, there isn't really such a thing as too cold. I mean, until it gets crazy cold. But too hot is very easy, and it can ruin a nice, especially a session mead. I think would be like destroyed within days or hours of being too hot. I think.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what
it would burn up.
Oh, a lot of the wine yeasts have a much wider fermentation range than beer yeasts. So
well, no, he's saying after fermentation. Once it's done.
After
yeah, what do you do with them after the primary's done? Do you just after. Do you temperature control them or stick them in the basement and leave them, or what?
No, they go in the. They're in the basement generally, which is, like I said, never more than like 72.
Yeah, I have a lot of envy right now.
So don't live in a swamp.
There's that whole thing there. We got
she
Matt
says from the frozen tundra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not in a frozen tundra. That would be Steve. He's in Minnesota. You're in a frozen tundra. Yeah, totally. Minnesota. Okay. Okay, so Matt Weedy sent in a question. He says, does staggering nutrients versus putting them in all at once make a significant difference? We answered this question earlier, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In aroma and flavor in the final product. And
Matt should already know the answer to
he's just doing that to W. You know this, right?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
He's trolling me.
He's trolling you. Yeah,
Trolling.
He's following you around, Steve. But the man did just like reposted the Twitter post about you being on the show tonight, like everywhere. So.
Well, I haven't really noticed the difference. I've been, like I said before, I started out doing staggered, and then gradually I got lazy and just like threw everything at the beginning because I don't want to go down and have to open my fermenter or lift the lid on the bucket or whatever and add something. I'd rather just like minimize any contact with that meads, minimize any risk of possible contamination. Not that I've ever had that happen, but that's just my.
That's your old beer days coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is exactly. But no, I haven't noticed a difference. But so recently I've gone back to doing the staggered to see if it's made anything better. But those batches are kind of still in process, so I haven't noticed any particularly better fermentation in terms of lower gravity. So I would say I don't really think it makes a difference.
That's good to know.
Yeah, have you done some of your favorite batches both ways?
Yes.
And you haven't noticed any particular? No,
not really.
Interesting. Now I'm going to have to try that this winter and try the pitch and the pitch and weight versus the pitch weight. Which is basically what staggered is. It's just pitching more, at shorter intervals.
I figure I'm going in there to aerate it anyway, so I might as well just give it a shake of nutrients.
Yeah, there's that. Which raises the question, Steve. Are you aerating daily, or what are you doing for that?
You know what? I never used to aerate my meads at
No,
all.
I never did before. Not until somebody told me I had to.
Recently, I've been hitting with O2, prior to pitching, but I never used to do that at all.
What are you just loading it with like a can of O2 or putting an air stone in there or something?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that was a real popular on Got Mead. Oh, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. Everybody had aquarium stones that they were putting in their pails.
The beer guys do that all the time. Now they have those stainless steel stones.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, the stainless steel ones. Yeah.
I was thinking about getting one of those. It seemed like a good idea. I mean, rather than open it up, get out the drill thing, which you then have to sanitize, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no, I would never do that. No.
Lazy, need to write a book, Steve, called Lazy Mead Making.
I thought about it.
You should.
We're doing a presentation like the Lazy Mead Maker's Guide to
Oh, God, yes.
doing something lazily. I don't know.
Making mead the lazy man
I got-
way.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I was too lazy to remember what I was thinking about.
I've been too lazy to write the book.
Yeah. That would be work.
Instead, I'll go make some mead.
Let me get my air stone. Are you doing primary in a closed fermenter or open fermenter?
I generally use buckets, 5-gallon or 6-gallon buckets. So I guess that's open.
Mm-hmm. You putting a top on it in primary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just loosely sitting. It's not snapped on with any airlock.
Okay.
So just the lid on loose then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
all you really need to keep, bugs and crap out of there, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, an open fermenter. You're not sealing it, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we get a lot of people that are like freaked out about headspace, and it's like that. You only need to worry about that pretty much, when you bottle, because during primary, you
Right.
got that CO2 blanket, and it's you're covered, literally.
So Josh on the feed is asking if we could ask you what the oddest mead flavor combination you've had that actually worked well.
The oddest mead that actually worked well. Let's see. Not that it was odd, but the one that springs to mind is Scott Schar's Fig Mead that he won Meadmaker of the Year with this year. I never thought a fig mead would work, and it was fantastic. Let's see. Other than that, what? Cantaloupe.
Okay, cantaloupe, because I've heard that that's hard to make a good mead out of. So what did you do, and how was it?
Well, I went to the farmer's market and bought cantaloupes in season, and then I brought them home and I peeled them and chopped them up and threw them in the primary with the honey, and it made it like a session cantaloupe mead, like 1050, 1060, and used a light honey, so it wasn't going to like compete too much with the melon. And it got a gold medal in the state fair here.
Nice.
And the melon flavor shone through, or?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
It just worked out really well. I mean, the thing you have to get really is fresh, good melons. So you have to find something local and buy them in season when they're ripe. I don't think it would work out the same if I just went to like the grocery store in the middle of winter and bought, honeydew or cantaloupe from